So you might ask yourself, why is he doing what he's doing? And the reason is, there's only one way out of the mess the world is in, and that's truth. I was in Savon yesterday, and I was being nice, and I said to the teller, I said, "Happy Thanksgiving." And she kind of looked at me and smiled, and then she said, "I'm not happy." And I asked why, and she said, because the world is F-U-C-K-E-D. And it just struck me that, you know, a lot of the joy that we should have in life is being clouded over by the ruling lunatic fringe, if I can refer to them as that. The two main players in this lunacy are Israel and the USA. The American administration has spent something like $20 billion on arms to Israel since the Hamas invasion of Israel. This has caused the leveling of Gaza, the destruction in the West Bank, now the invasion and bombing of Lebanon, and the threat of bombing Iran. These players are on the wrong side of history. When the Nazis were defeated, the big mistake was made to create the State of Israel. And the Zionists took over where the Nazis left off. They are pursuing what Netanyahu envisions as the final solution, just like Hitler was trying to get rid of them as the final solution. So they want to get rid of the Palestinians. So they're conducting a campaign of ethnic cleansing and genocide. They have this vision of the greater Israel, the greater chosen ones. You might ask, well, it appears that one genocide spawns another. And this particular genocide is, frankly, got me terrorized. So who are the terrorists? You know, the Western media claims that Hamas is the terrorist outfit that caused all this. Well, this is not true. I mean, since the founding of Israel and before, the Zionists have been slaughtering Palestinians over and over and over again. In the Nakba in 1948, they drove out 750,000 Palestinians from their homes so that they could have their land, and they slaughtered many of them, and this has continued unabated. So you might ask, well, were the Hamas invaders justified? And in my mind, they were, because they were in an open-air prison camp with no freedom, basically. They had no freedom to travel. They had no seaport. They were basically prisoners, very similar to the Gulag or the concentration camps in Germany. So, yeah, they invaded, and it's pretty evident that, very possible that Netanyahu knew about the invasion and let it happen for an excuse. And what really bothers me is how these politicians Biden and Blinken and some of our Canadian politicians keep repeating this story that these Palestinians rape women and butchered babies and slaughtered, I think some say 1,400, some say 1,200. But what they don't do is, because they don't deal with the truth, they don't recognize that it took the Israelis a while to respond, but when they did, they unleashed a lot of firepower, Hellfire missiles from Apache helicopters, like 26 helicopters, dumped all their ammunition on this scene, plus some Israeli tanks. Now you see some houses that were really damaged, and the Hamas people didn't have the ammunition or firepower to do what to bomb these houses or obliterate these cars with possibly hostages in them. And so the Israeli, it's called the Hannibal Doctrine. They slaughtered possibly half of the 1,200. So we have this this lie that, you know, Israel is defending itself, and every time they bomb a school or a hospital, and they've just done the same thing yesterday. They keep bombing. They bombed a tent camp outside of a hospital, and they keep saying, well, they're targeting Hamas, but they never show any evidence of these Hamas people with their missiles after the bombing. All we see is dead babies and women and men, and very few men. It's mostly women and children. And if you look at the eyes of the children that survive, some without limbs, some but still alive, and you look in their eyes, you see terror. These children are affected for their entire life if they survive. This is terrorism. So ask yourself, who are the terrorists? To me, it's self-evident. The terrorists are the U.S. and Israel. If you go to Lebanon and Hezbollah has said over and over again, we will stop sending missiles into Israel if you stop bombing, if you have a ceasefire and stop bombing Gaza. Netanyahu doesn't want to stop anything. He is determined to carry this on until he has gotten as many killed as he can possibly kill, murder. So here, you know, if you go to the Bible, it was it's got a bunch of lies in it. Many years ago, I was on Granville Street or Hastings Street in Vancouver, and I went into a used bookstore, and I asked the proprietor for a Bible. He was a Muslim, and he looked at me and he said, "That's a book of lies." And I challenged him. I says, no, that's the Word of God. Well, I've discovered that he was right. It is a book of lies. There's a lot of wisdom in it. There's some truth in it, but it has many lies in it. And probably this whole story of the chosen people, God's chosen people no less, is a self-interested creation by those so-called children of Israel. God is not this deranged, shall I say. God is not a God that advocates genocide as in the Old Testament. God doesn't tell people to go invade other people and take their land because he's promising it to them. That's not God, that's a false God. So much of this destruction is the result of misplaced faith in a faulty God. Odds are Jesus was a Palestinian. He didn't have blue eyes and white skin. He's also been misrepresented. I just want to make it very clear that I believe in a God, no doubt. I used to believe in this biblical God, and I'm blown away by how deceptive that's been. Took me many years to come out of it. It caused me to have post-traumatic stress disorder for about 12 years after following it for 30 years. But I survived. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I did survive. And I feel like I'm obligated. So, although the truth is painful, it's essential. So, this is my Thanksgiving message, if you want. Be grateful for the truth, accept it and live it, and believe in the loving God, not the genocidal God. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks. Bye.